Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the number one show to bring you all things Club América in English, from tactical analysis
Pelota para la banda izquierda.
to player updates. We've got you covered on all the latest news on Las Águilas. Now, let's start the show. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all things Club America. Going to be recapping that strange win against Tijuana with that C team. We're going to be looking ahead into the Jornada 2 as we're going to be going up against Queretaro at the Estadio Azteca. We got more news on where America is going to be playing, how long are we going to be playing at the Azteca for. A lot of news coming out of that forefront. And then, of course, we're going to be talking transfer rumors as news broke today that we have potential offers for a good chunk of our players. So, plenty to talk about, to discuss, and to break down, and to joining me today to help me with all of this and much more, it is none other than Christian himself. Christian, how's New York?
Cold.
I'm
freezing.
You don't got a heat or anything?
My AC up, so like all the cold air is just coming in, like creaking into like, little holes that is left by the AC. But other than that, though, I think feeling good. I'm feeling good. I'm happy for the win. Obviously, I know that we weren't that optimistic going into it, right? But it's good to see that we're able to squeak this one out. It's games like this that, in my opinion, can decide your place on the table at the later part of the season, right? You never know how you're going to finish, how other teams are going to do, and games like this that may just put you over someone else. So like I said, glad for the win, and it was interesting to see a lot of the players play that night.
No, yeah, indeed, and Louis puts it perfectly here. That win was so unexpected, and I think, like you mentioned, right, we were very thrown off with very low expectations, and we'll get into that just a little bit more. Joining us as well, though, we're not alone here, Christian. We got our beloved friend here. It is Chris himself. Chris, how's it going, man? I see you got a shaved beard. Is that right? Am I looking at you?
It's a different person, bro. It's not even Chris anymore.
All right. No, it's Chris. No, it's not Chris anymore.
This is Christopher,
right.
The baby
Oh,
face.
Christopher. All right. I like it. Well, how you doing, my man?
Good, man. Our weather isn't necessarily cold compared to Christians, but
yeah, no,
it's cold for us. It's fresh for us. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a very weird game, right? A very weird game that we're going to touch on, and hopefully we could talk about certain players, certain academy players that were able to play, or even not academy players.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think there's a couple players to highlight, and we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, it was nice to see the youngsters put in a shift. I know we tore them apart just like months ago after losing the game against Juarez. But they're able to kind of, put themselves in a position to go away at a very tough stadium. I'm not going to lie to you. Turf is not the easiest on the road. And I know it's not going to factor in as much, but Chris, that Saturday night was cold. I would imagine it played a part as well.
Diego. In San Diego,
I know.
Too,
exactly.
Or Tijuana, but it's that direction.
Yeah, you're by the ocean front, so. Yeah. Alan over here saying Mosumbito. We'll talk about his performance, which I will say, I thought he looked a little slimmer, and I thought he didn't play that bad of a game. I don't know if that's a hot take or not.
For the opportunities he got, not that bad.
No, not that bad at all. But, all right, gentlemen. Let's talk, because this is a long show and we got a lot to cover here. So, like we discussed, America came into this game against Tijuana with a very heavily rotated squad. Christian, I don't even think we even landed at the starting 11 at all. Like, we maybe got like 3 names right, but that's about it.
Maybe so. But it was expected, though, right? I think the reports leading up to the game was that we were going to go with the kind of B-C team for this game, which is the reason why I think that most of us felt that if we walk away with the draw, I think that's just that was okay to start the season. Just with everything going on away, with players that haven't really played together. That was the one of the results that we were expecting. But like you said, though, it's nice to see some unexpected players that you really normally wouldn't see be the savior of the night. But I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit later.
I have never had to make a starting 11 where I'm just kind of like, I was making the graphic and I was like, what am I even typing here? I don't even know where to put these players in what positions. We literally had 6 defenders out there, which was crazy. It was a weird one, completely strange. But I think we all accepted it, Chris. Like Christian mentioned, right? It's one of those things where you just kind of walked into it and you thought, okay, yeah, this is not what we were expecting. And it kind of sucks too for the people that paid premium prices to go see America play in Tijuana. Because I'll tell you this much, guys, those tickets are not cheap. Tijuana
They were
versus
crazy.
Puebla, that's cheap. Tijuana versus America, they raised the prices up significantly. So it sucks that they didn't get to see, the star players. But at the end of the day, the team gives them a W, which I think is something that any fan is grateful for at the moment, whether they were at the stadium or not. So let's talk. I think the biggest news when kind of the team sheet hit the printing press was the fact that obviously, and you called it, Chris, Cristian Calderon started. Big news going there. And then after that, of course, the inclusion of Emilio Lara, which I think was interesting. Santi Naveda, which I don't know if this is a compliment or not, didn't really shine, but I think it's because of the position he was playing in. So I don't know if it's a good thing that I didn't really see him or mention him as much during the game on Saturday. So I don't know if that was because he was doing a very good job in the midfield where I didn't need to even bring him up, or was it because he needed to do more? I'm not too sure. I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that.
It's hard to say. He was playing with someone that he never is matched up with, and I don't know if he debuted in that game, Sebastian Martinez, which I wasn't expecting to play. Honestly, I thought it was going to be Dago Espinosa, who we loaned out to Belgium and came back, or Richard. Was it Richard? Who was the other? It was him, right? It was between
Yeah,
Richard and
Richard was there.
yeah. So I thought it was going to be one of them. When I saw the lineup, I got it was interesting. I'm not a big fan of academy players that are that skinny. I don't know if I'm the only one, but he looks super skinny for a midfielder. But he didn't play bad either. I think it was just you know uh, no attack. So I think Naveda did do good. It's just that there was no attack going forward, and that's not necessarily his fault.
And they planted the game just as such. It was soak up the pressure, relieve on the counter. It's very elementary, Christian, and I can't believe it actually worked. And I don't know if you saw the video of Emilio Lara talking about it in halftime. He was like, everyone did their part. We knew what the agenda was. It was soak up the pressure, relieve on the counter, and all that stuff. So it's interesting to plant yourself like that in the first game after being campeones. Obviously, though, you know that the roster is not going to be the same because you have your starters back home. So, I mean, is this one of those instances where you kind of tip your hat off to Jardine and be like, all right, fair play?
Yeah, I mean, you got to give him some credit. I'm pretty sure some thought went into choosing the players. Right? I don't think it was just like, oh, I'm feeling kind of crazy. Let's just put in whoever I'm feeling like. I think the game went as expected. Everything didn't seem out of the norm. I think that we expected a slow game, a game where maybe Tijuana was gonna have a little bit more control of the ball. And then us just trying to find that one or two opportunities to kind of just go and strike forward. Another thing I wanted to point out when the starting 11 came out, just the newest striker that we added a couple days prior to the match, Hernandez from Pachuca, getting to start literally right away over the likes of
Yeah, I thought that was crazy.
Salas, right? So you gotta wonder what the coaching staff on the U23 level and what Jardines saw in him to just put him over players like that. Which I saw a couple clips of him, and it seemed like he was full of energy. It seemed like he wanted the ball. There was a reason why Pachuca had him starting a couple of games in Liga MX, right? It seems like he's ready ready for the challenge, and it should be a good fit for the U23 team. and I guess so some appearances here later on during the season.
I honestly thought he had a pretty decent game, just as much as Monzumbito. I thought there was instances, Chris, where he was open in some space, and it just the pass never really came. You think that with a Fidalgo, with a Jonah, and if he gets those opportunities, you think that the ball gets to him a little bit quicker, and he gets himself in positions to score. I mean, he had a great opportunity where he just kind of took it first, like the ball just was in the air, took it first time, obviously went wide, but it's crazy that you just signed for America, you get thrown into the first game of the season, and I dare to say showed pretty decent sparks of what could be.
Oh yeah, I actually liked what I saw, especially in that moment that you're saying. Carlos Reynoso actually pointed out saying that's the striker mentality, right? To go and shoot straight at goal, no matter what the opportunity is, right? But yeah, it is surprising that how many days was he with us? 3 days, right?
Yeah,
If that, yeah.
Yeah, like maybe he was just in really good form, being in preseason with Pachuca. But either way, like you have other academy players that could have played too, that maybe have similar characteristics. But either way, like there's no bad in that. He showed a good game. He didn't come out injured, right? Which is the most important thing. And I actually think he's not going to be with the youth academy. I actually think we might see him a lot more on the bench than we expect. I think he might be one of those players that are in and out of the call ups. But I do think we're going to see a lot of him, especially since I think in his they put a clause where he needs to play a certain amount of minutes.
Hmm.
So I could definitely see him.
I could definitely see him in the first game of the Champions Cup.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
You know,
100%.
either,
I'd
either
say
or, either the away leg or the home leg. But I could definitely see him getting minutes in that tie for sure.
Luyo is saying Piojo was disappointed, and rightfully so, I think, because of who loses to a C team and walks away with a smile on their face. Luis G saying Juarez titular can become a leader, and I can see that. Definitely. And then El Soccer guy saying, hoping to see some chicotazos soon. We'll talk about Chicota Calderon in just a minute here. But let me direct my next question to a man who's been patiently waiting to be added to the podcast. It is your backdoor neighbor, Christian. It is none other than AJ himself. AJ, how are you, my man?
Doing great, thank you very much. Hope all of you are having a good night. Same to the viewers, and doing well. Happy about the victory that America got versus Tijuana. So pretty good, despite us like going with like a B/C team. But don't matter what team we put out there, America will find any way to get a win.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll get to the Chicote thing because I think all eyes were on him. Like a lot of scrutiny was on him, right? And I want to get you guys' opinions, especially you, AJ. You watched that game so closely, seeing as how you covered it for us over on Twitter. But talk to me about your boy. Talk to me about why is it that this is gonna be the season that Chava Reyes finally becomes the left back we all expected him to be 2 years ago.
I mean, when we first signed him, remember he was one of the best youth left backs in the entire league when he was at Puebla. He was up there, arguably. That's the reason why Meca got him in the first place. They saw that he could potentially become the replacement for Fuentes when by the time he gets old, when it's time for him to retire. First season he was pretty good. He showed glimpses of what we saw in him, but it seemed like after the game he had against Monterrey in the Champions League, he kind of just was never the same player again. But ever since now, we have Ades Jardine, who's been utilizing him more in the left back or left winger position. Jardine has seen something in Chava Reyes, and in seeing this game, it goes to show that Jardine has a plan. Remember, this is the same guy that was supposed to go on loan for Necaxa, but he actually blocked the move. He's like, no, I'm gonna have him stay with us. And then when you see the game against Tijuana, if other than Malagon, who was one of the key reasons to why we were able to compete throughout this entire game for the full 90 minutes, Chavez was ultimately the man that did score the goals for us and ultimately get us the win at the very end of the day. He was crucial in making all of that happen. That first one, that was one of the most lucky goals I've ever seen. I didn't even think that was
Yeah.
going in. The next thing I heard was yelling, and I'm like, wait, he scored, and I just see him running down on the side. And I was like, oh, he actually scored. Second goal, it was great, but I feel like this is the season now where he could definitely shine. Potentially, maybe now there's more competition at that left back spot. There's Fuentes, but then now we're gonna have Chicote potentially starting, and then Chava Reyes probably fighting for that spot, or if anything, trying up at left wing. You see, Flash him. He's got the pace. He likes to go up front. Like he likes to cut into the box. Find those opportunities for himself. And seeing those runs that he made in those 2 goals that he did score, it goes to show if you put him maybe up at that left wing spot, you could probably see something. Considering that on the left wing side, without Brian Rodriguez being healthy, all we really have is Cabecita. But Cabecita, it really depends on the day for him whether he's gonna be good or not. He can have some good games, he got some bad games. But I feel like this is not a time for Chava Reyes now to prove himself to why he was the player that America signed in the first place. And I feel like this season could potentially be the season where he probably finds his form that he had when he first arrived at America, and could be that potential starter for us in the future.
That would be something. All right, that definitely would be. You know what? I love Club America Twitter. It is absolutely the best because I don't know if you guys saw this, but somebody tweeted out saying he's like, and what if Chava Reyes' true natural position was always a number 9, and they had like that Oppenheimer gif. The guy just kind of like like with a shocked face. That made me laugh. It's just like, well, it's funny because we're talking about where is he going to compete? Is he going to be fighting for that left back spot? Is he going to potentially be trying to be a backup left winger? Or I mean, now could he potentially be Henry's backup? I don't know. It's been a crazy Saturday. So a lot's been happening, but kudos to him. He's flirted with us like this before, Chris. You remember he scored that goal against Puebla in the first jornada as well. And we all thought, damn, yeah, this is the Chava Reyes we know and love.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just one of those fullbacks that are just very good at attacking and really bad at defending. And you you just see that a lot in a lot of fullbacks, right? That they're just very bad at defending and offensively they're good. And we're talking about when he played in Puebla. Well, he was a wingback there, so maybe that's why he looked so great. Same thing with Israel Reyes, right? He was a center back with 2 other guys, so maybe he is a defensive mid. Who knows? For me, Israel Reyes was really impressive this weekend too. I don't know how you guys feel, but personally, I don't think he got his flowers. And he was captain. I don't think many people, talk about that he was captain in this game, and you would have assumed it would have been Malagon that would have been captain that game.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Same. Ricardo saying the season just started and America already has a league leading scorer in the ranks, Chava Pichichi Reyes.
Stop the count.
Alan's saying here, Chava Reyes played striker when he was playing at the youth level as well. So
yeah, that second goal was very striker-esque. He
100%.
He read the situation and finished it like a true striker. Like a little impressed actually on that part.
And Alan also agrees with you right here, Chris, saying that Israel Reyes was really good as well. And kudos to him. Solid performance, just as well as solid performance from Ramon Juarez, who I thought time and time again he just displays the one thing you need to have to be a solid center back: discipline. And he's just very disciplined to his task, to his positioning, which is important. And he understands clearly what is being asked of him. He never shies away from a 50-50. He's always kind of going in for a tackle, even if he just feels like he might potentially still get beaten. But he is a very solid defender, in which I hope that he can get more minutes in more crucial games, because we saw what he was capable of do in a Clásico Nacional. So it just goes to show that I think he's more than capable of being a very crucial aspect, just as much as hopefully Israel Reyes can be, right? Because that's what we signed him for. We thought he was going to be the next best center back in Mexico. And so, I mean, we'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, all right. Let's wrap this up by talking Chicote Calderon. Obviously, everyone was expecting him to make an appearance. He got the starting position. It was funny because I was watching this game with my dad, with my padrinos, and so he was my padrino was always kind of like keeping an eye on whenever anything happened down Chicote's wing, and my dad as well, just keeping an eye on like, was he gonna mess up? If he messed up, he did a bad coverage or he did it okay. Like, it just seems like that's gonna kind of be Chicote Calderon's tenure at America for now, until, like El Soccer Guy said, until we see some chicotazos, I think that's when the pressure will lay off a little bit. Until then, even if he has a good game, even if we have a shutout, I think there will still be some scrutiny on this guy because of his past, and rightfully so. I would imagine. So, I mean, your guys' thoughts, just that so much is focusing on Chicote and his performances.
I'll go first. With Chicote, I mean, you're gonna get the spotlight, especially you know, your past. You've played at Chivas, that's America's rival. Everyone's definitely gonna give you like so much from the start. They want to see now what he could really prove now, especially at a team now. Not only at Chivas, he was getting the spotlight, but this time spotlight's even bigger, especially when you're playing for a team who just recently won a title. Everyone's gonna be looking at this guy. It's like, all right, this is the one that's gonna be competing at left back with the likes of Luis Fuentes and Chava Reyes. Got now proved to us that why I make everybody in the first place. He did saw in his first game, but I mean, like with every first game, no one's gonna really be perfect. I mean, he did have a couple, hiccups in the first couple of minutes of the match. Almost potentially got injured, which was really gonna be really bad for his debut. But ultimately, he, got back up and continued playing for the full game, which was really nice to see. He showed some glimpses of 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 his Necaxa days, the player that everyone first saw in him. Look really solid. It'd just be one of those things like, he just gonna have to build up the minutes. He's gonna get used to the play style that's being played at America. What Jardine expects of him. All in all, he looks solid for me in his first game for America.
You're muted.
Muted.
My bad. I said, look at what Louis said, right? Look at Massa. He played for Chivas, so he eventually ended up kind of, winning the hearts of Americanistas. So
Something that's a little different though.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Not straight from over there.
Right. I think that's the I think that's the problem with a majority of the fan base is that it's coming from directly from Chivas, right? Like not like Sendejas or Massa who went to another team first and then came to us. Like I completely understand that, but I completely agree with you though. That whole sense of I'm waiting for him to mess up kind of mentality going into every single time he steps on the field, it's going to happen until he has a good game against a good team, I think. I want to say a good team because if you have a good game against, no disrespect, but like against a Puebla or like against like a Necaxa or something, then people just think like, oh, it's that team. If you don't have a good game there, then you really don't deserve to be here, right? But if you have a good game against, let's say, Monterrey or Tigres or Toluca or something like that, and then you start opening eyes a little bit, then I think that's when you'll start seeing people kind of maybe start easing into him and maybe say, okay, maybe he could help us and maybe he will be an important piece going forward en route to either the Bicampeonato or the Champions Cup.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. Luis says, "Bro, he's gonna score versus Chivas. I just know it." Luis says to bet the house on that. So
win the fan base right there.
Oh no, yeah, 100%. That is by far.
Chivas.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He doesn't celebrate. He goes like this. He just says, "I'm sorry."
Nah, he's gonna run in the middle. He's gonna run to the end like Emmanuel Adebayor when he scored against Arsenal. He's gonna probably do that. I want to see him do that. Just run to the other end of the pitch and then just celebrate. I want to see him do that.
That'd be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, let's wrap this game up. It was a good victory. One last thing I want to say, only because he deserves just as much praise because he had just a tremendous game. Malagad, the best goalkeeper in Liga MX, as Ricardo puts it. I just want to give him his praises. Especially from me coming from someone who's very much a stickler for any other goalkeeper that isn't called Ochoa. It's tremendous the game that he had, and it's not easy to do it on turf by any means necessary. That save that he has in the corner for Gonzalez's header, it is just 10 out of 10, top notch, just worth every 3 points that we got that night. So shout out to Malagon again, showcasing as to why it is that he wanted to play and why Jimenez was on the bench. So again, kudos.
Is it fair to say that Malagon becomes the second goalkeeper for Mexico at this point?
Some people argue that he might have just became the first.
I was gonna say, is it fair that he might be competing for the first?
So I don't
Yeah.
think it's crazy to say that because I think he's warranted over the year of all 2023, and then I think that he merits that, right? It's just that I don't think he's there just yet. I have to see him against maybe tougher opponents if that makes sense. And I think that's fair. I think that we need to test them, maybe in the upcoming friendlies that we have, that Mexico has. I think that'd be a good test. But I think by
No,
far right now he is probably Mexico's top two goalies for sure.
No,
in
I
my
agree.
opinion,
I
they
agree.
shouldn't play any America player in a friendly. That's just my opinion.
You and me both, Chris, but I don't think we have any much weight on that one right there. But yeah, shout out to Malagon, just did amazing, and the reason why we got the victory as well, just as much as just a collective group effort. Can't even finish my sentences here. So yeah, just great job. I mean, none of us were expecting those 3 points, but hey, Christian, like you mentioned, sometimes it comes to these games where you look back at the end of the day and you're thinking, wow, these points were just as crucial as just the ones we just got last week. So it will be interesting enough in that aspect. But all right, start off the season with 3 points on the road, and America's away record continues to look just ever so much better. I mean, it's gonna be looking good. Hopefully, it continues to do so because it seems like after we're done playing this Tech, it's gonna feel like a road game every other game, even if we're quote unquote at home. Which we'll talk about in just a moment because we do have news in regards to that aspect. But first, before we continue any further, we do have kind of an announcement to make in regards to the podcast itself. We just, for those of you who aren't following us on Twitter, I highly suggest that you guys do so right away. And for those of you who have been listening to the podcast from the beginning, will be excited by this news. So, we are returning trivia. So, the Eagle Eye podcast is bringing Trivia Night back. And we're doing it hopefully a little bit more coordinated, hopefully a little bit more consistent, and hopefully a little bit more fun for everyone to play alongside. So, I'll put on the screen just a moment, the rules and information and everything like that. But yeah, we're officially bringing trivia back. It's going to start January 18th. It's going to end April 26th. Funny enough, America plays on April 26th against Puebla on Friday. So the question is going to be dropped at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard, 7 Central, and 8 Eastern. And then you will have 24 hours to answer the question. We're going to be releasing the question out on a tweet. You guys will get a link. You guys can go there, answer the question, and then you guys will be all set and there to go. So each question will be worth 3 points. You will have chances to make up questions if you don't get them right away. If you maybe miss a week or so, we're gonna have bonus questions live here on the podcast. We're also gonna have live. We're also going to have bonus questions on our communities page. So if you guys follow the community page on Twitter, you guys have access to bonus questions as well. And then, of course, we're going to be updating the charts, the tables, and giving you guys a weekly leaderboard update every week so you guys know who's ahead, who's fighting for relegation, and who's kind of that mid-table guy that you're just thinking, well, if you can push a little bit more, he might be able to creep into that, top 8 and make it to the Liga. But yeah, like we said, we're super excited to bring this back. This is going to be it's going to be Twitter only, just because that's kind of how we're testing the waters. If all goes well and then we maybe continue it again next season, we can expand it to more platforms, just kind of eyeing out to see how we're going to be doing this. But yeah, I hope you guys are excited. Hope you guys are looking forward to this. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter so you guys are up to date with everything. And like I mentioned, Trivia's back starting this Thursday. Every Thursday for I think 100 or something days. So it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. And yeah, gentlemen, how are you guys feeling? Christian, how are you feeling about this? Because trivia was kind of your baby. It kind of grew because of you.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I think it's a good way to interact with the community. I think that it's always fun to revisit America's history, right, and become that more knowledgeable of our team. I am excited. I hope that people will join us every Tuesday or whenever we have the podcast. To get those extra points, 'cause I think that's going to be the deciding factor, whether you're 1, 2, 3, or 4. I think those points will really see if you can become the winner, right? So make sure to tune in whenever you can. I know that it's not always possible, right? But I think that we're giving us something very cool at the end of everything. So we hope you can make it, and this should be fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. AJ, Chris, I'm expecting for you guys to enter as well, so I'm looking forward to see how far you guys get up on the table.
Oh,
See,
we could enter?
No, no, I'm kidding. No, we can't
I'm
enter.
about to say, I'm
Oh,
like,
I'm
we
gonna
better
say,
rig
I'm gonna be like, trying to relegate.
Yo, I might be like, Emilio Escala, avisa donde Esposito. Like, dude, make the deposits. Like, alright, time for you to
There
win
you
this
go.
one.
There you go. And look, at the end of the day, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna have first place winners gonna get a nice little trophy. They're gonna get a jersey of their choice for this season. And yeah, it should be super fun, super cool, and might be a little bit of surprises here and there throughout the season. So as we mentioned, just make sure you guys stay tuned, and it should be fun. Should be absolutely fun. And all right, that does it for our little update here. You guys ready to move on? Cause this is a big one, Chris. Transfers. Transfer rumors.
I'm
And
ready.
the windmill goes round and round. We were
Christian's
sitting
not
here
ready.
last week. Christian's not ready by any means necessary, but we were here last week and we kind of spoke about it. It was kind of funny, right? It was kind of the most quietest transfer week for America, even it being the first week of January, but we still hadn't really heard anything. And then it looked like it just the lid blew off just nearly a couple hours ago. So I'm gonna give the floor to you, Chris, and to you, Christian. Talk to me about what you guys have heard. What's this that I hear that Fidalgo might be leaving? What's this that there's offers for Cáceres and Napoli and all this other rumors, this crazy rumor? It sounds like we're gonna lose half of our squad here.
I think it all started when Biden started giving interviews, and a question was asked if any offers have made their way to Cuapa, right? Because there's always rumors surrounding us, right? And every transfer window, it doesn't matter if we're playing good or we're playing bad. There's always going to be rumors surrounding us, right? And 8 out of 10 times they're usually false. They're usually fake, right? We don't really pay attention to many of them unless it comes from a really reliable source.
Like
However,
Saul.
our beloved president that I think Ivan wants to stay all for the rest of his life, as Santiago Baños has confirmed.
No.
What happened?
Huh?
What's going on?
What do you mean?
Did I miss something?
No.
No.
I thought I missed something.
No.
All
We're
right.
laughing
So-
with you, bro. Come on, we're not
Yeah.
bullying you now.
No, I was just saying, I thought that there was a message that because I don't have the chat up on.
Oh
my,
no, we
on
were
my
saying.
screen,
No,
so I thought
no.
there was a
No, I'm
message
laughing
on
at you
there.
because you're saying that I want Baños to stay here and be like the all end all be all for America. This is not it.
I got you. Yeah, so Bayern basically confirmed that there are offers that made their way to Cuapa, right? And he didn't say specific players, but there has been numerous reports coming out now that Fidalgo is one of those players, and suppose they are in advanced talks with the team from Europe in order to make way for his services, right? Obviously, you guys all know how I feel about Fidalgo, and if you don't, you should follow me on Twitter because I am like, you'll see why I'm very against this move, right?
He's not that active, but when he is active,
when I am active,
it's
that's right.
Hidalgo love.
But yeah, I on a personal level, I don't want him to leave, right? I think that just for personal reasons, I think that he is one of the best players on our team. I think that his absence is noticed whenever he's not on the field. I think he just puts on a crazy amount of pressure, passion for the club. I think that the fans see it. I think that he always shows face, whether it's at the lowest of lowest or the highest of highs. He's always number one to go out and show face for the team, right? So, and players like that are always welcome at my club. But I mean, if this is the time, then so be it. But hopefully, it doesn't happen. I was prepared for this moment in the summer. I wasn't really prepared for this moment now, so I really hope it doesn't happen right now.
Okay. No, yeah, I agree. Have you guys seen though Club America? And I'm trying to, I'll try to get the picture up here soon. But Fidalgo looks like he's put on some real good muscle. Like the guy's been. I don't know what they've been
On the
feeding him.
Henry
If there's been
diet.
more, if it's more about Bacoa or what, but
I don't
the
know,
man looks
but-
brolic.
Yeah,
Let me
he
see.
does.
I'm trying to get the image up right now so everyone can kind of see what we're trying to attest to. I mean, look at this. Look at this. The man looks like he's on the roids.
He was gonna look like Leon Goretzka. That dude got buff when he ended up going to Bayern after that. So I mean,
I'm
hey,
about to say he's on that Bayern diet.
Yeah, he's 100%
The
on that
Bayern
Bayern
diet.
diet. Alan saying Henry taught him.
It's gonna make him do the pose next. It's gonna make him do the muscle pose next. So
No, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he's brolic in that sense. But no, Christian, I agree. His absence would be detrimental. I'm not 100% believing in the fact that he will leave. Like you mentioned, I expected this more to be true during the summer, just
Right.
because I don't feel like he would take a jump to join a team midway through, and just kind of try to adapt right away. It's kind of a crazy thing to do, to move in January, and so far too. And I know he's played in Spain before. He's European, yada yada, but he's had so much time in Mexico already. The transition, the change, it would be a lot to kind of go back to and adapt.
You know what this reminds me of?
So I don't know.
Marchesin, which was, I believe, also in the winter, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
It reminds me of Marchesin came out of nowhere. A lot of us were kind of saying he won't leave now. It's kind of stupid to leave now. And then those videos of him crying, talking to Baños, and he left the next day. And then I forgot how many days later we got a job, but that's what it reminds me of right now. I don't believe
No.
he's gonna leave.
He did not leave. He didn't leave during the winter. He left during the summer, because remember, he lifted Campeones Cup,
Okay.
and then
so who was
he left.
so who was the one
It
in
was
the
summer.
winter then?
Wasn't it Diego Lainez who left in the winter? And we kind of all questioned him
Okay.
why he left.
Yeah,
I could have been
yeah,
like,
yeah. It was Diego Lainez.
This is
Yeah,
why
and
we
I think
triggered
Edson too.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying Edson as well. He left during the
Yeah.
winter, which is true, because I think we had just beaten Cruz Azul.
Crystal, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, a lot is gonna be happening as to whether or not this is gonna be true or not in the next couple of days. I think by Friday we should kind of have a really good indication as to, okay, this has some traction, or okay, now this is kind of dead in the water. Because look, two things need to happen. One, it needs to be a lucrative offer, because America's not giving up their players for free, regardless of how badly the player. Yeah, regardless of how badly the player wants to leave to Europe. Financially, we're starting to make things right, and I don't want to start losing out on money. We've done it before too cheaply. Two players like Guido Rodriguez, who I think left on very low, that I think we could have pocketed a little bit more money from him.
Uribe
So yeah,
too, if I'm not mistaken.
Uribe,
Matheus Uribe, right? Yes.
yeah. So I think the offer has to be right, and the team has to be right, because I'm thinking right now, who would, I mean, unless it's Real Betis, I think that could be enticing for a
no,
Fidalgo,
I don't
but
think the team was leaked yet. But like you said, though, I just don't think it'd be a smart move for his career. Like I said, I was expecting all this in the summer. I think we all kind of expected him
Mhm.
kind of just leave America in the summer, which is, it's respected. He did his time here. He said he wasn't going to leave until he was a champion. He did that. I just thought all of this chaos would have happened in the summer, right? And I think it'd be smarter for his career also to kind of take his time with the decision. Don't feel a little bit rushed, or don't jump at the first opportunity that comes to you, right? I know there was rumors of a team from France wanting him last summer, but he said that he didn't want to leave because he hasn't achieved his goal yet here in America. Now that he has, all doors are open for him to leave, right? But like you said, though, I don't think he leaves. I think that he sticks it out for 6 more months and revisits the topic in the summer.
I agree, and I think hopefully a lot of Americanistas are in your boat and kind of crossing their fingers and hoping that that's the situation. But
More so only for the fact is, obviously we're losing a great player, but who comes in to replace him?
yeah, look, that's the thing, and that's
also the
what I
problem,
wanted to allude to.
And we only have 15 days to do it.
And that's the
course
thing
not.
is, it's imagine losing a couple of starters, right? Let's say you lose your Fidalgo, your Cáceres, and you lose, I don't know, what do you like, Sendejas or Quiñones or something. It's random wild names, right?
Yeah.
But now you're scrambling to replace them with just as equally talented players in 15 or less days, and you're giving the job to Baños, who is notorious for taking like 3-4 months just to get one player down the line. And Pete's group does not have that many good players that we can just call upon. All right, and trust me, I looked at the list. I just don't think it's a smart move for America to be listening to any offers so late into the window right now. You're halfway through. If only if the offer is lucrative, like I said, then okay, you that outweighs the purpose.
Yeah.
But again, it would have to be a good offer. Other than that, I don't think you even listen to it. I don't even think you listen to it at all.
Well, Banos
All
in
right.
the interview said that they're only listening if the player like requests to leave, and it's hard to say Fidalgo won't request because he did say that he just wanted to be champion, so maybe he wants to leave on a high note. And it's not just him. He also said that he said no Mexican is getting offers, so that eliminates a lot of players, right?
Does
So
that
it's
also
all the
eliminate
foreigners.
Quinones?
Oh, I guess that's the debate, right?
Yeah,
That's the debate. People were throwing his name in it.
So
Yeah, they were throwing his name into that, but I mean,
I
the
think
one that we do
that's
know
just
is
the
And
craziest.
Marius
Cáceres
did
and
say it was players. Like there's more than just Fidalgo that has
Yeah.
offers on the table. Those names have
I
been
mean, I would
released.
assume.
I don't know
I
if
would
we've
assume.
heard anything. Obviously,
he did two
obviously,
interviews though,
probably
and he said,
Cáceres, right? But other than those two, I'm not sure who else would be out there
for
that
Europe,
has an
right?
offer.
Richard maybe.
Reacher's like the other guy I can think
Yeah,
of.
the
There
only thing
was
I'm
like a
thinking
point.
is maybe Richard Cáceres.
Cáceres.
Which
Those,
will
those
talk
would
to
be
me
my
about that
top
one,
three, would be
Chris.
Cáceres, Richard, and Fidalgo that most likely have offers on the table.
Or
For them.
Diego Valdez. I remember he had a
Or maybe
lingering rumor
Diego
once.
Valdez, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to go to City. Yeah,
Brian
wasn't there something like
Rodriguez
that?
maybe,
Yeah, Alan makes a
right?
good point,
Brian
Brian.
Rodriguez.
I think
Could be
like
one.
you said, I think in the next couple of days we'll get more information, and I'm sure we'll update everyone on our Twitter once we receive that information. It like you said, it all happened very, very out of the nowhere, right?
Yeah, it was very abrupt.
We all was certain
from
that
him,
no one was
right?
leaving, that we were gonna go ride with this squad 6 more months, and in hopes of obtaining the 2 trophies that we all want. And then we'll see what happens in the summer, right? Let the chaos ensue in the summer. But it seems like all hell broke loose in less than 15 days. So let's just hope it ends in our favor.
Who are you guys
Let's
okay
hope
with
so.
leaving? Like, who
Right
are you
now,
guys saying?
right
Like, you know what?
now,
I want to keep everybody, but this guy leaves. We could bring in an upgrade from a foreigner spot, or because I do think there is positions we could upgrade, which is like saying a lot. But at the same time, I think it's just one of those things where we're just tired of the player, right? We feel like they're already hit their peak and they might decline, right? We think of Richard Sanchez.
Right.
But is there any player that or position where you're just like, you know what? They leave, it's okay. We're
I
good
mean,
with that.
I wasn't really too worried about the Cáceres news dropping. Whether it's fake or not, I really don't think that his absence would be that much of an impact to our defense. I think that while I think he did have a good season throughout right last season, I do think if you give Ramon Juarez the starter role, I think he would excel. I think if you instill that confidence in him, I think he has everything to succeed as a starter at Club America. He understands where he's at. He understands the club. He understands the colors. He understands everything there is to know about this team. And I think that it would be a good bet if you wanted to let Cáceres leave. Plus, we have Israel Reyes and Nestor Araujo, but I wasn't really going to
Igor,
which I
don't
was
forget
so,
Igor.
Forgot.
Don't forget Igor.
And
Igor.
right, but
but I think we're all assuming that Igor is the starter.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's gonna be interesting. Like again, I think Cáceres is like in one of those players that we all are okay with. Richard is another one. Fidalgo is one of those who I think we're all anticipating. Okay, summer we might have to deal with the loss of him, but in summer you maybe get a little bit more time. It's not as frantic. You know, the window's open much longer. So, I mean, we'll see. As far as any more big news, I don't think I have any more. We talked. I mean, the Cáceres thing was rumored to be false, right? The reports coming out of Tudene was nothing was concrete. A lot of Americanista sites kind of led
Like I
with
said, there's a lot of
with
these
the
rumors
news.
that come up every single window. Most of 8 out of 10 of them are mainly false.
And so we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what these changes are. Obviously, the big thing is America also needs to start planning for the future, which is next season we lose a foreigner spot, which I don't think is going to be a big deal because we technically already lose a foreigner in Igor whenever his uh, contract is kind of his loan. Thank you, Christian. Is up, so we're in kind of quote unquote in compliance with the league rules, right? With the foreigner spot. So there's going to be a lot to weigh in and a lot to kind of dissect, but it's kind of premature days still, especially since we don't have a name for the clubs they're in or even name for other players besides Fidalgo. So just kind of stick with us here on the UI podcast over on Twitter. We're gonna break it down as much as we can. We'll poke our noses wherever we can and maybe try to see what's true, what isn't, and kind of what has traction and what kind of is building up to maybe something potential. And we'll keep you guys up to date in that aspect. So make sure you guys follow us over on Twitter. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on in the world of Las Águilas del América. One more news before we talk América Querétaro, and that is, where are we going to be playing? Because, at first everyone said, oh, América is going to go straight to Estadio Azul. Now, América is going to be playing at the Estadio Azteca until the doors are permanently closed, which is when? February, right?
So I think the goal was to play two home games at the Estadio Azteca before we move.
Yeah.
Where we're moving, you said, Ivan, we don't know yet. Everything was set.
I thought Baños confirmed that already. I thought Baños confirmed it in the interviews. He said
Baños said that most likely we will end up going to the Estadio Azul.
But there are other options, though.
There are other options, and I think Escaragaiba came out and said it prior to last season ending was that there was talks of potentially moving America around in venues where the Americanismo, who maybe don't have the luxury to see them week in and week out, could potentially have a home game in their area. Right. Obviously, a lot of people thought that it meant like, oh, America's gonna come play in the United States, they're gonna have a home game here. That would have been cool, that would have been awesome, but the legal work to do that is practically impossible. You'd have to get the league to be okay, you'd have to get FIFA to be okay.
It was never gonna happen. Like that.
Yeah,
gotta go through so much. Just
right, exactly.
And I think just for one league game.
MLS didn't allow that either.
Yeah, you'd have so much red tape, and I don't think it wouldn't be worth it. Huh?
I said they're scared of us.
And yeah, no, of course, who wouldn't be? So that's not gonna happen. But right. I know there was talks of potentially playing some games in Guadalajara. I thought
I saw that too.
That's out there as well.
I'll give my 2 cents, and I may be in the minority here, but I'm not really a big fan of us being that team that just travels for home games. Whether it be we play a game here, we play a game over there, we play one over here. I'm not really a fan of that. I think that we need to have one set location to play our home games, or else it's never gonna feel like a home game for the players. It's always gonna feel like a road game. We're never gonna feel comfortable at one single stadium. And ultimately, we're not going to have an advantage when playing teams. So I really hope that this logistics stuff gets kind of rectified within the next couple of weeks, at least by the end of January, right? And we have a system to play for at least the next 6 months. Now, in the summer, if you want to move around and see if we can find better locations, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Just I don't want to be like a nomad, just playing in Guadalajara 1 week, and then Querétaro on the other week, and then come back to the Ciudad de Mexico another week, and then Toluca on the next one. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Absolutely. It's mind-boggling to me, too, that we haven't had this on lockdown. I mean, it's most likely just going to be the Estadio Sur. Look, regardless of wherever America goes, it's never going to feel like the Azteca. It's not going to be a true home game. Like, I think that's just something that we all need to accept for the next, year? While the remodeling is going on. 2 years, excuse me.
2 years, no?
Yeah, 2 years until 25. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oof, that's gonna be rough.
Just so Mexico could lose the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. So Malagon can concede in the minute 3.
Here we go.
I'm kidding. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't even like the lighting at the Estadio Sur. I was seeing a little bit of the Cruz Azul game. I was like, this is gonna be terrible whenever we have to play there. This is not gonna feel America-esque.
Outdated. Like I really thought they were gonna pump some money into it and make it better, but all they did was give it a paint job.
It's
We should
even
go play in Toluca Stadium, in my
We
opinion.
should.
it's even worse. You got like 3 teams. You have Atlante, you got Cruz Azul, now you have America.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't make sense.
That's
I would have
horrible.
preferred that, Chris. I think when the news first broke out that America wasn't going to be able to play the Azteca, I instantly thought about playing in Toluca. I think that that would have been a cool setting to play in. It was always going to be filled every single home game that we would have had. It's not too far from La Ciudad de Mexico, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that would have been a good location for us.
Plus
Well, it depends what side of the Ciudad de Mexico you're at.
That's true.
True, but still, regardless, like it's different to play in Toluca than to play in Querétaro. You know, it's
Yeah.
still
Is it
it's,
so?
yeah, because Querétaro's like
It's like
2
4
plus.
hours. That's not that. It's 2. I thought it was 4.
Well, almost 3. Toluca's like right there.
But what? But okay. I don't know the section of the city. That's why I'm like asking, like
Yeah,
how.
But-
you know, it's different.
So,
From one side of the-
but that's my point though. Anytime where you have to travel 3 hours for a home game is not a home game, right? And then you're never going to feel comfortable.
no, yeah, I agree.
Ever.
I agree. I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's developing week in and week out. And I guess we'll just go from there. We'll see what happens. But
we won't be there in like in 4 weeks, right? For like 3
yeah,
weeks.
it's gonna be like for sure January. We wrap it up in the Azteca. So we'll see what happens. A lot is still kind of being decided, and I'm sure they're locking something down, which again most likely will be the Estadio Azul. So don't get discouraged, guys.
One more news.
It's gonna be a rough 2 years, but we got this. Go for it, Chris.
It's Baños also comment on the Henry Martin's extension. I guess they're getting that finalized.
Yes, I saw that. They're working, tweaking things out, and hopefully he'll be with us for a couple more years.
Hey,
Which is
So-
okay. I think that if he wants to retire at Club America, I think that's perfectly fine.
That's just a smart thing to do. Honestly, if you're Henry, that's a smart thing to do. So I'm just sure I'm sure they're
MLS.
just crunching numbers. Yeah, I don't know. Henry's a
Chicago
very much
Fire
Liga
will give
MX
him that
player.
money.
Oh yeah,
Like,
easily.
Yeah, Chicago Fire
Easily,
will give
but-
him that money.
I'll take him
Yeah.
at New York Rebels. Rebels got
Well.
that. Rebels got that Rebel money. So I mean, if you can match that with these, not as if we want to compete, but who knows?
We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Eddie saying tuning in from Ellen, Texas. I hope I said that right. I know Dylan would
I don't
be
think
here to
you
correct
did.
me. No, I don't think so. I don't think I did either. But if Dylan was here, he would definitely have
I'm not
corrected
going
me.
to try to say it, but I don't think you said that correctly.
I'll say Elgin. Just
I was gonna
Elgin.
say something
That's
about-
Elgin, there you go. Elgin, Texas,
I
probably.
say.
Shout out to you, Eddie, for giving us this discussion here on the Eagle Eye podcast. We'll take it to we'll give it to Dylan, see which pronunciation was correct. He said outside the Austin area, Texas. All right. Well, kind of put a pin to his location. But right, gentlemen, let's talk about the last thing we need to talk about before we wrap it up here. That's America versus Querétaro, week 2. First game at home, and technically a true home game, one of the very last ones that we're gonna have at the Estadio Azteca.
for a while.
Christian, you had brought this up earlier, right? That how important it is to get these games, these points against these teams early on in the season. I'm looking at America's starting games, which is obviously Tijuana, then Querétaro, then Juarez, Necaxa. Of course, those last 2 are on the road, but you're thinking must-win games all across the board. And how important it is, because you're going to be throwing CONCACAF Champions League in the mix later on in the season when you're going up against your Monterreys, your Leons, your Pachucas. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult down the road. So it's important to kind of line up and get these 3 points all across the board in the first opening 4 games, so you can talk about 12 points. You're sitting comfortable on the table, and knowing how this America team can be sometimes, you need to have that consistency. So crucial game. I know it's just the second game in the season, but again, crucial in that aspect. Looks like everything's pointing that all of our players are now going to be officially ready to go for this game. So give me your predicting starting 11 for the game against Querétaro. Are we going with Team B/C again, or are we going full started Team A and just blowing Querétaro out of the water?
So I'm gonna base this, I guess, decision based on Harinet's comments that he made post game after the Tijuana game. The question was brought up as to why did he opt to play with the BC team for Tijuana. He said that when you have such high caliber players, they don't really get much rest because most of them are out defending their national teams, right? So they get very limited rest during the season. And now that we have the opportunity right here to kind of rest them, I am giving them a couple of weeks of rest. Now, what that said to me is that I think he'll go again for another BC team against Queretaro. I think that most of these players are ready, like you said. But if we can squeeze out another week of rest for them, I think that's what he wants because he knows, like you just mentioned, we're gonna have another tournament mix in here in just a month out. So I think if we can squeeze in as much rest as we can for the top players, I think we're gonna do that. So I think we'll go BC again. We're gonna see probably a combination of what we saw starting in Tijuana mixed in with like a couple of regular players play in. I can't give you the 11 right now because I don't know it. I don't really see myself, and I really don't want to go 0-11 on this one. But I will know that I think Malagon will start. So I think that's the only one I'll say.
Okay, Malagon starting. I like it. So Eddie's
I say
saying
let's
more
guess.
like a
I say
A
let's
slash
all
B
throw a
team.
guess.
Okay, let's all throw a name out there that we're for sure gonna stick besides Malagon. I'm I'm gonna say Richard Sanchez starts this game.
Okay, I can see Richard.
Chava Reyes is
Okay.
gonna start again.
I can see
All
Chava.
right, all
I
right,
see that.
Chris.
I think Iliam Mbappe starts.
Yo.
He starts, but it's gonna be a 4-4-2. And this time instead of Mozumbito, we're gonna see Pato Salas start, and we're gonna see Henry in the bench instead of Mozumbito.
Okay, that's gonna be interesting.
I'll go Chicote in this one. I think
Maybe
he
Israel
played
Reyes
90.
again?
He's got him again.
So then we're making a makeshift starting 11 here, and we're basically saying most of the starting 11 repeats with the tweak of Richard Sanchez in the starting role, Pato Salas in for Monsumbito, Chava Reyes probably on the left wing, and Chicote on the left back spot. Kevin maybe potentially plays on the right, and then Sendejas gets his starting role in the right mid. With the center back partnership of Juarez and Reyes again. And the midfield, obviously, we mentioned Sanchez, and then, of course, Naveda
I think Fidalgo might start.
or Fidalgo.
I think just we didn't see enough progress movement. I think we're gonna have to see someone. I know someone said Richard, which I could definitely see, but I think Fidalgo's been at practice longer than Richard, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true. And then
I'd actually Fidalgo.
we'll see. I mean, it's a little bit more of a beefier starting 11. I hate having to throw in such a makeshift team.
But I think this one will be the last one. I think come the third week, I think we'll see most of our regular starters.
Because the next two games after this are road games. And look, I get it. Juarez on paper and Necaxa on paper aren't always the strongest sides. But I told you how detrimental it is to get these 3 points. So you can't be messing about.
But like I said, though, I think Harine will squeeze until there's no more drops. He will squeeze as much rest as he can for most of these players. Because he knows once it's grind time, and then no one's taking away Henry or Quiñones or Valdez from the 11 when that time comes.
It's so difficult to even predict these games now or give a proper preview just because we're kind of not in the loop or we're kind of out in no man's land thinking, okay, what is this America side going to look like? So all I can hope for is the same that we saw against Tijuana, right? Which was that resilience, that structure, which I thought was important, and that defensive unit, which was Juarez and Reyes alongside with Malagon. And yeah, I think limit your opponents to as many little opportunities as possible, and then I don't think we're necessarily gonna have to kind of get them on the counter. If we do play a couple of these more attacking, pressing players, we could take the game to Querétaro. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. That game's gonna be on.
Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they had a mixture of 11v11, right? Which was like the starters mixed with the U20 versus mixed with
correct
starting 11 with the U20. That's what they did today, right?
Yes.
In practice, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe that's what we're gonna see. Maybe he's just testing out who's doesn't. But the idea is to have a mixture.
Yeah.
I agree. I do think there's a mixture happening for this upcoming game. Um, I just really want to see the America that we saw lift the trophy, come and play
No, I
again.
understand, and I hope we get that team. It's just that based on his comments, I don't think that's gonna happen. But you never know. He might just shock us, and then we'll have a full star-studded 11 come Saturday night.
Hey, who knows? Hopefully, let's see what happens. That game's going to be on Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Like I mentioned, going to be on through the N live at the Estadio Azteca. Make sure you guys follow us over on Twitter. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on in the world of America in that game as well. So, should be interesting. One last thing to note, Andre Jardine, what a manager. He just feels the passion and the color of this team. Like the man ran faster than most of the players on the bench when he went to go celebrate. And I just hope to see that again in Queretaro. He just feels it, you know? And you just love to see that, AJ.
It's definitely great to see.
Absolutely loved it. Like, dude, like he acts like he wants to play in too. He's about to probably get like the shirt on. He's like, "Yo, put me in. I'm ready. I can play like a minute or two."
No, yeah, absolutely. Eddie saying Hayden is truly one of a kind, looking like an FC24 cutscene. Yeah, no, absolutely. I just want to answer Eddie's question here before we give scoreline prediction. Eddie's saying goleador prediction for this season. I'm going with Henry. I know he's gonna be late to the game, but oh my god.
I'm going to run the
Okay.
Wait, who do y'all went with? Who do y'all what you said? Christian?
Julian.
I got Julian. Yeah.
Oh my god. Alrighty. All right. Well, this is the moment where we gotta start wrapping it up here. How you guys gonna pick Jonas over Henry? I even think Dylan would have picked Henry because that's his boy. Jesus.
I don't know. Seeing that we all picked Quiñones, I think Dylan would have just to go against you.
Probably. Shout out to Xander too, saying San Diego here. Club America Cup is coming here in May. That's right. I got my 7-month-old training as we speak right now on the treadmill. Hopefully, he's ready to go come May. Project Mbappe. Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, give me your predictions for Saturday's game against Querétaro. Chris?
4-0.
4-0. Wow, and you were close to the prediction last time too. So.
Yep, I
don't know where he found 4-0 from, knowing that we were going to be playing another C team here, but
you're acting like me when I first joined the pod, Chris. That's crazy. I was like 3-0, like left and right every time.
Absolutely.
4-0.
All right, absolutely. 4-0.
I just
okay.
think we're a different team. I think we're, I don't think it really matters. I mean, to an extent it does, but I just think that you saw what just happened, right? We should have not even won that game, and we somehow scored 2 in the last minutes. It's hard for me not to just like think 4 is not possible. Maybe it's a little extreme, but I saw, if I'm not mistaken, Querétaro went into that Toluca game very aggressive, and I think if you do that against us, against any starting 11, it's a mistake. So I'm going 4-0.
All right, that's the Christopher coming out in Chris right now. So it's 4-0. All right, Christian.
If it's the BC team, it's 1-0. If it's the A team, 2-0.
Oh wow! You're going from 1 goal to, I thought you were gonna go 4-0 like Chris. All right, okay. Well, Christian's got a makeshift 1 or 2 goal differential. I'm loving the clean sheet that I'm hearing from both Chris and Christian. AJ, what do you got for me?
I think I got 2-0 in this match. I definitely feel like with this group of players, they could definitely make something happen. Just defenses just gotta be as sharp as possible, just like they were in the Tijuana game. And Malagon's gonna have to hopefully doesn't have to do as much as in that Tijuana, but potentially maybe in this one. But I'm feeling confident we can get that clean sheet this game first get though. But yeah, 2-0.
2-0. I'm gonna go if it's that makeshift B C team again. I'm going 2-1. I think we find a way to, edge it out and get those 3 points. If it is if it's the A team, I'm going 4-0 too, Chris. If it's the A team, I'm going 4-0. Absolutely. If I have to make that starting 11 graphic and I know, and I don't even have to look up who has 258, then then I 100% am going with a 4-0. But if I gotta go and look up those numbers again, then and I'm a little bit hesitant. Look, either way, crucial 3 points. The next 2 games are on the road. They're not going to be the most difficult, but they won't be the most easiest either. And we'll talk about that whenever we get to next week. But yeah, hopefully we get a good game, boys. Hopefully we get a really good game. Anything else you guys want to add before we kind of wrap it up here?
I really hope
Mozombito's gonna have a Tony Lopez game and scored 3
Wow.
against Queretaro too. I don't know if you guys remember that game when Tony Lopez had that hat trick against Queretaro.
Oof, I'd have to go back. I'd have to go back and relive that moment because it's not engraved in my memory.
Right there.
Trivia question right here.
Actually, you beat me. You beat me to one of my questions that I wasn't gonna do it right away, but it was brewing in my head, and I'll just say it to you guys, and then whoever's listening might have kind of an edge here to kind of start doing their research for this potential question whenever it does pop up. But can you guys name me? And you guys don't have to say the name right here. Just kind of think about it. But can you guys name me the last player to score a hat trick for America?
Damn.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. So hope you guys do your research. It's going to be a trivia question. So get ready, guys. Absolutely ready. But that does it for us here. I hope you guys had a wonderful time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much to everyone that came out and talked. Eddie, Xander, like I mentioned, Alan, Ricardo, Louis, everyone really, Luis, El Soccer Guy, all of you guys, thank you so much for making it out. Everyone that's on Instagram that was watching us. Shout out to Ricardo who said 2-0 for America. Just absolutely amazing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you guys are excited for trivia. Like I mentioned, this is gonna be fun. Make sure you guys join us over on Twitter. We're gonna be dropping questions every Thursday. Like I mentioned, bonus questions on the podcast, bonus questions on our community page as well. So make sure you guys follow us on there as well. This is going to be fun. We have a lot of great things coming for 2024, and hopefully America can continue to kickstart the year off right the way that they've been doing so. So thank you so much, AJ. Thank you so much, Christian. And thank you so much, Christopher, for making the time out to come and talk all things Club America. Last words, gentlemen?
Fidalgo will not leave.
Just put it in the world. Just manifest it. Be like those TikTok girls. So just put it out there. Out in the universe. Alrighty then. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Take care. Be safe. Be warm. We'll talk next week. All things Club America. And as always, Arriba America. Good night, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast. The #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle